Hi guys, it's Dave again. Welcome back to my channel, one breath at a time. Excuse me. Better. So, before I start with the actual chapter, I just want to let you know what we go through. I say we because I'm not the only one suffering from this shit. Excuse my vernacular. I just finished cutting my lawn. I have 4 lots of land. I have a push mower. It's tough. It takes me nearly all day. I gotta stop every now and again and sit down and relax and just breathe. One breath at a time. I shouldn't laugh really, but what the hell? What else are you gonna do? I do have a John Deere lawn tractor. It's been sat under a tarp for the last, I don't know, 2 years now. Excuse me, put me cup down. For about 2 years now. When I bought it, it was running brand new tires, brand new battery, you know. The guy said, oh, it got a slight leak in the fuel tank, plastic fuel tank, so I fixed it, he said. No, he never, no. It's going to cost me $600 if I went through John Deere to get the actual tank. But if I go, I guess, Amazon might sell them, I guess, for half that price, but, you know, I can't afford that, you know. I can't afford to retire, I can't afford to change my mind, you know. Things happen. If I never had bad luck, I'd have no luck at all, you know. Not only do I have this on my lungs, I also suffer from PTSD through a workplace fatal accident at work I was involved with. Not nice. So I'm suffering with that as well. Again, like I said, if I never had no luck, I'd have no. If I never had bad luck, sorry, I'd have no luck at all. So I'm gonna. I gotta go to the store. Get some bread. I want to make some garlic toast for supper with our baked spaghetti we made last night. So we're having leftovers. Wash. And then I'll get back at her, you know, like I promised. It is the long weekend and the tan's working well. So, and you'll probably curse me. You see a cigarette in my hand. Why is he smoking? He's only got one lung. I just got one thing to say to you guys. Really, more than one thing. I've been smoking since I was 15. When the specialist mentioned it, and I said, listen, will it improve my quality of life if I stop smoking? He said, not really. He was honest, you know. I said, will it prolong my life if I stop smoking? He said, no. I said, okay then. So I don't drink, you know. If I give up bloody smoking, what else have I got? You know. So I'll catch you in a bit. Like I said, I gotta go to the store just up the road and get some bread. Something else I can't remember. My brain is fried, as you can tell with the suntan. And I'll catch you in a bit. Okay, see you in a bit. Bye. Hey, just before I start, I want to give a shout out to Ross_Pets, ROS_PETSS. They're on TikTok. And they do a lot of supplies for little puppies, like I've got. Beds, toys, you name it, they do it. So go over there, check them out, and tell them I sent you. Thanks. Bye. Hi. Good. Welcome back to my channel. I'm Dave. Just got back and had a quick shower. And yeah, I know, I forgot to shave. What the hell? Doesn't matter. Scruffy was sold anyway. So, where were we? This is episode 3. The Hobby Horse Inn. So last time I told you about landing the apprenticeship, 16 years old, fresh out of school, feeling like I won the lottery, even though the lottery didn't exist. We did football pools back in those days. Yeah, so a trade, a future, something with my name on it. Now, I want you to take you back to where the trade actually played out. A building in Minehead, Somerset, that most people would have walked straight past without even taking a second look. It was called the Hobby Horse Inn. Now, I know I said I wouldn't do any editing on this, but if I can put this on this CapCut thing, no, we're not getting sponsored by it, then I would see if I can find a picture of it so you can actually see it. I don't know where my phone is, so I've not got a clue where it is to just like show you, but oh well. So by the time I was working there, it wasn't really an inn, but I guess it was. It was a restaurant there, a bar, you know, but that was the sort of like the bottom of it. You see the picture. I hope if I can find a picture, that would be good. Then you can visualize instead of, okay, this is what it should look like. And it was a very, very old Victorian building. But it was being converted. Well, no, it wasn't being converted into flats. It was already flats or apartments, as we called it. Our job was to fireproof them. My employer was a company called R.M. Smith Limited, based in a small village called Cossington. I think that's where the head office was, and stores. They were later known, as I found out by trying to put a claim in, my lawyer, they were called the Domus Group Limited, and they had £1 English pound floating in the account. So yeah, a ghost account, I guess, a ghost, I don't know what they call it. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. So my job as the apprentice painter and decorator was to help turn that building or the apartments stroke flats into modern living spaces, safe to live in. So I want you to picture it the way I remember it. It was dust in the air, that had nothing to do with asbestos yet, you know, just normal building dust, you know, cutting up lumber, that sort of stuff. The smell of, you know, sawdust, plasterboard. I don't think they had drywall back in those days, it's all plasterboard. Was there asbestos in that? I don't know. Never did find that out. So the smell of, you know, fresh paint fighting with the smell of old wood and damp stone, and radios playing, always had a radio playing somewhere down the hall. Blokes shouting instructions to each other across the floors that didn't have proper walls yet. Well, when I say didn't have proper walls yet, they had the proper walls original, but then with some parts of the apartment we had to partition off, to give an extra room, you know, that sort of thing. And that was basically my classroom, you know. So as an apprentice, you know, you're at the bottom of a ladder, really, literally. Some days you don't start off doing skilled work, you start off doing whatever the journeyman didn't want to do, you know, mixing the paint, sanding down the surfaces before anyone lets you anywhere near a brush, cleaning up after everybody. Yeah, you were basically a gopher. Carrying things up and down stairs until your arms feel like lead, you know. But you watch, you know, that's how you learn to trade. Not from a textbook, not from some chap at college standing behind a desk. You know, you learn from standing 3 feet away, from the guy who's been doing it for 20 odd years. Watching his wrist, watching how he loads the brush, watching how he makes it look easy, when really and truly when you actually try it for the first time, it's not. There's an art to it. I took pride in that. I want that to be clear, you know. I wasn't a kid dragging his feet through a job he hated. I loved the work. I like getting better at something and doing it with my hands. I've always been a hands-on person. I've always said, give me a hammer or a paintbrush, I'll build and paint a house for you. You know, give me an iPhone or computer, I'll destroy the world. You know, I'm not tech savvy. So yeah, I took pride in it. I liked that at the end of the day, you can actually stand back and physically look at something you've done, you know, the finished product, and say, wow, I did that on me, you know, on my own. So, I want to say there wasn't good on your own, but anyway, that's what you felt like. So anyway, the apartment doors, okay, they were beautiful. Loads of them, all Victorian, gorgeous, thick, heavy oak. So that's when the job started to change just a tad. You see, a building that was being turned into a safe environment to live, fireproofing, had to meet fire regulations. So each door, unfortunately, had to be fireproofed or fire suppressed, I guess. So if a fire broke out in one apartment, flat, it wouldn't just tear straight through into the next one. So it retarded the fire enough to give the people a chance to get the heck out of Dodge, you know. So in the 70s, there was a material that got used for exactly that type of job all over England, in fact all over the world. Some places still use it. In buildings just like this, it was cheap, it was effective. Builders and companies, especially construction companies, treated it like it was the answer to half, if not more, of the problems. And that material was asbestos. I didn't know what that word meant back then. None of us did. Not really. Nobody sat us down like you do nowadays, what they call a toolbox meeting, you know. Nobody explained it to us, the dust, what it could do to us, you know. It was just material, something that came in sheets. I think 8x4, I think they were. A long time ago, you know, it's tough to remember. They were yay thick, you know, what's that, a half inch, you know. But it was something you worked with the same way you work with any sheet, be it plywood, board, anything. It got delivered to the site, it got used, and the job got done. Nobody told a 17-year-old apprentice to be careful with it. In fact, not just a 17-year-old apprentice, the older guys either, you know, why would they? As far as any of us knew, it was just not a part of the job. So I'm keep looking at my notes as I'm going along. It's such a long time ago. So yeah, we were basically, the job entailed cutting the sheets, actually drilling the holes in the sheets, putting it up against the door, beautiful old doors. And everything was done by hand, the hand saw. We never no battery powered equipment. The drills were the old ones you turn. Oh my God, I wish I had one. Beautiful bits of kit. The screwdriver, that long, or even that long. And it had like a extruder type thing, and you just pushed on the end and it went like that. It sort of spun back and forth. That was your screwdriver. We didn't have power sanders, it was all done by hand. So yeah, when it was actually put on the door, the edges were square, we had to make it round. So sanding there, primed it, filled the hole, sanded it again, undercoat twice if needed, and glossed. But the sanding part, the cutting and the sanding, we were just covered in this stuff. Lunchtime came and you had all of your hands, your face, your hair, your clothing. Lunchtime came, you just basically patted yourself off, as you do, dust it off, literally. Dust yourself down, sat down, got the clipboard out, toasted your sandwiches on your little toaster, Never thought nothing of it, really. I wish I could go back in time, I think, and come up to that 17-year-old boy and say, there you go, there's a mask, wear it. You probably tell him to piss off, you old fart, what are you on about, what do you know, and I looking back now, I probably would have done, no matter how many times the guy said, or my future self said, this is going to kill you, you'd be having a death sentence. You don't listen because you're a kid, you're 17. I'm not saying you know best, because you don't, but you just don't believe that because you believe in your workmates, you believe in your foreman, you believe in the company. They wouldn't do that to us. No chance. Did the company know? I don't know. None of us knew whether the company actually knew the dangers. There was dangers about that stuff. I found out recently. Companies did know, and just did tell their workers. Whether my company, being a smaller, localized builder, knew, who knew? And that's the sad part. And the guys I've worked with, I don't know if I'm the last one. Yeah, there was Ray, Schultz. You'll find out about him. Another apprentice. I think it was 6 months, a lot further on in his apprenticeship than I was. Could have been a year, but I think 6 month-ish. Yeah, Schultz we called him because his dad was German apparently, so everybody had a nickname back in those days, Yeah, it's Derek, lovely guy. He's probably dead now. Malcolm, same. They were all about 15 years older than I was, So if I was 16, yeah, do the math, please. Like I said, just a minute ago, my brain's fried from that heat outside, cutting my lawn. Derek, Malcolm, Vince for definite. He was a lot older. Vince the foreman, not the bricklayers. I would say, oh my word, 90% of the guys I work with, and you will see it in the book, all the guys I mentioned, most of them if not all, are probably dead now. You know, um, I always wonder what happened to Steli or Stelios. Again, you'll find that out in the book. I might even do it in here as well. Short little transition, little story. Because my life does, it's not stuck at the Hobby Horse Inn. You know, there's other jobs I got. But I did notice that, I don't know if I'm repeating myself here, but I think it has to be said that as I've got older through my various jobs, it's like I found I had a harder job keeping up with them, not work wise, but like walking and upstairs, you know, out of breath, you know. Put it down to smoking, I don't know, put it down to bronchitis, what I've always been diagnosed with, misdiagnosed with, sorry, because obviously it doesn't show up for decades, you know. That is why, like, if you break your leg on a job site, and if you don't claim immediately, you got no chance. But because that was an immediate incident, an immediate injury, this form of injury is not immediate. It takes time, decades. Oops, shut the laptop off there. It takes decades for this to show. So I think that is why you're allowed to put a claim in, regardless of how long ago it happened, as long as the time you're diagnosed with the asbestos lung disease, interior and exterior, you've got 3 years from that date, and I will emphasize it throughout this series. You know, that is highly important. I was lucky. I had about 2 weeks left out of that 3 years when I found Helen from England, the asbestos lawyer, and she said, we'll start right now. The clock stops right now. And I didn't really know what she meant at first, you know. And she did say that it was free, that she gets paid, I guess, by the insurance companies. I get my money out of, it's like a pool, I guess, pool of money they keep for cases such as mine. But it's open, it's not closed, even though I did get a very small portion, which when I got it, I still had to apologize to Helen, but I was quite disgusted with it. And I was saying, is that all my life is worth? Really? Seriously? Are you joking? You know? But then she said, I'll never forget it. She said, look, this is not like America where we could sue for millions, you know? There's a set amount, judging by your diagnosis and the percentage they give, England gives you when you saw the results of disability. You know, the highest is 100%. Well, you're basically on your deathbed. You know, I was lucky. At that time, I was 20%. I think I'm about 35% now. But they don't like to bump you up too much because they've got to pay more. You know, I'm getting paid by the Industrial Injury Board in England again. It's like WCB in Canada, I guess, workers' comp. Again, it's embarrassingly minuscule. Every little helps, I guess. That's why I can't afford to retire, because I don't get a lot. But anyway, get back to what Helen said. Sorry, I digressed. She said it is open, so God forbid if it turns into mesothelioma, you're basically, it is up. You just won't be pushed out the daisies within the next 6 months. So what that means is you get one huge lump sum from this pool of money. And it's basically what that does is to get all your affairs in order. pay your mortgages off, or mortgage off, your payments of vehicles, anything which will make your surviving member, your wife, spouse, whoever, give them some cushion. You know, yeah, they've lost their loved one, whether it's husband or wife, but they have that cushion to fall back on. You know, it never replaced that person. That money will never replace me, but it'll give her, okay, bit of breathe room, no panic, you know. So, what more can I say? That's basically it for this one. I think I've yammered on too much. I don't know. So, anyway, just remember, take care of each other, stay safe, and remember, take one breath at a time. And I'll catch you in the next one. Bye-bye. Hey, I forgot. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and give that bell thing a tinkle. And I'll see you on the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.